wanted to add to the training, as Kate and I were just talking offset, was boundaries and how you set clients with boundaries and set expectations. So a lot of the times what I do is I mirror the behavior of my client for the client that I want to work with and it's predictable. Let me give you an example. I have a client that any time that he calls, I always pick up the phone. I have on Christmas Eve, I have on Thanksgiving, I have on other nights. I pick up his phone calls a lot. However, he doesn't call me every day. He calls me maybe once a month. And this is an individual who's referred me probably $250,000 worth of other business. I speak at his live events. So I answer those calls right away. And my family's like, well, Kurt, why do you answer a call like that? Like it was 4th of July at 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, because this is the last time I talked to him, because of him, I put $70,000 in my pocket. And all he wants is a quick answer and then he knows that I care about him. That's it. I have clients that won't talk to me for months. We'll just be going over, delivering everything, intention, behavior, result. However, when I haven't talked to those clients in a while and they call, I always answer the call or I return it very, very quickly. Now what's going to happen is remember, when I tell people when you sign a contract, I ask people to do it for 90 days, but I tell them that we can split this off anytime and it goes month to month, right? I think in our contract is we have something that require a 30-day notice, but we can always drop that if it doesn't work. Well, if the client is calling me, like for instance, we had a client to do a website design for $1,500. And the client called, and here's what she did, and I should have just said this isn't going to work out. She clicked on my payment link and it didn't work. There was something wrong with her credit card. And it declined 3 times. And we're like, we're sorry, our merchant is telling us that your credit card has declined. We'd be happy to work with you. She's like, I don't know why this happens. Why does this always happen? Maybe you guys need another merchant account. Remember the why and the need? That should have been instant that, hey, this is not good. Well, what ended up happening is we decided, you know what, we're going to do business with her and we're only going to do it for a month. That month turned into 5 months of horror. And the reason is because she called 4 or 5 times a day. Why did this happen? I don't understand what I told you guys, and why did this happen? And I didn't set boundaries up overall. And what I learned that was really difficult, you should learn early on, is start setting coaching prices now. Even if it's $1,000 for 5 hours, quantify your time. I don't charge anybody hourly unless I do coaching. So when they hire me, they're hiring me for a bulk rate of my time. It's not if it took me 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Some clients are like, well, whatever takes you under 15 minutes, you know, I can do this, and then you can do that, and I can do this. If I don't control the behavior that we talk about right here, if I don't control the behavior, I can't properly assess and guarantee you a result. I can never guarantee you a result, but I can give you a high probability if I control the behavior, I'll get the result, right? So what happens is with this client, she would literally call, and this is really important, she would literally call 2 to 3 times a day. She wanted to know why she didn't do this. She wanted to know why this didn't happen. And I finally asked her and I said, look, Mrs., when we originally talked, your intention was to do this. Our behavior is going to be this. And the result is you want this with your website. Are you angry with me right now because the website's not done? We said it would be done in 30 days and today is day number 7. Are you upset with me that the website's not done on time? And she goes, no, not at all. And I go, are you upset with me with the website design? She goes, no, not at all. Then what specifically are you upset about? Are you upset that I didn't return your phone call within 4 hours? She goes, yes. And I go, that's not the service that you purchased. We told you it would be done in 30 days and we're going to do everything we can for that. But I don't typically respond to emails within 24 hours unless it's urgent and it's required and it's going to hit a deadline. If we go past the 30 days, I tell all clients this, and I wrote this in my contract, you should know this. If I say it's going to take 30 days, in my heart, I know it's going to take 2 to 3. 2 to 3 days. And if I put it on the schedule for a week, I know I have 3 more weeks left to get to it. And I don't procrastinate, but I do know I told the client that I'd get it done in 30 days, and if I get it done in the first 2 weeks, they love you. If you tell me you can get it done in 2 or 3 days, and then something happens to your sister, and you get sick, and you got to do this, and then you go to this convention, and all of a sudden 3 days have passed and it's 7 days since you've done anything for them, now they're going to be like, they're just way too busy to work with me. You got to set proper expectations up front. And if you go over IBR exactly like I've taught you, you're going to be able to ask the client when they get upset or when you have a problem, let me understand, our intention of working with you, that you wanted to do this, we contracted on this behavior, so I just want to make sure we're talking about the overall results. What part of the process are you unhappy with? I'll control the behavior. What can we do to change for that result? If you clearly know the result, the behavior is not a moving target. The clients who don't know what their results are, that's a moving target, and that's somebody that we had on here before that you have to charge consulting money for. Now, I learned this the hard way, and actually this just happened a couple of weeks ago, so I really want to share this in setting boundaries, and this will really help wrap up the conversation. You know, if we're going to build out a sales funnel for somebody right now, if we're going to build out a webinar and a product, we're looking anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 to compensate us for our time. We're very particular who we work with, and if they don't know what they want, I can't build a sales funnel. If they don't know what the product is, I can't help them design the product. It's going to take much more time that's required. I decided to turn down the business. Now, the client who referred me the business referred it to someone else that actually many of you guys here in the room know as well, and he sold this client for $15,000. And I asked him, and I'm like, I go, Corey, I don't understand. I didn't think this client was going to work for me because their language was the same people I told you before in one of my other videos that constantly cut me off. I didn't think they had a high probability. They didn't know what they really wanted. It didn't work for me. And what Corey ended up doing is he wrote down their dreams. He followed IBR, but he concentrated more on their dreams and their intention versus, hey, I want a sales funnel. And he says, I can give you that, exactly what you want. And it's good because you're pre-qualified with the money, but I'm going to coach you through those processes at first. So it's $3,500 up front to coach you how to do this for the next 6 weeks. It's $3,500 to design a website, and it's $3,500 for me to do your social media branding, and I'll do a 2-for-1 deal. I'll do it for both of you. He just collected 10 grand off of somebody that I turned down. If someone's indecisive, you know that they're indecisive, that's when you sell consulting. But put a fence around it. Jesse says this really well. You always put a fence around it. If they're going to do it on their own, you sell them the product and they do it on their own. They don't have consulting calls with you. If they ask for additional consulting, you tell them it's additional price. But the most important thing that I can give you overall with this video and putting a whole fence around it and setting up boundaries is this. Everything you do for a client for free, they will never appreciate. I have a friend, we have a mutual friend who's in the film industry, and he does a lot of commercials and whatnot, and he's like, you know, I shot the video on this, I brought this extra person, we brought a third camera, I did these edits, I did this, I stayed up late, I worked till 5 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, and I did it for free and didn't charge him overtime. The client doesn't know any of that story unless you tell them, and unless they charge them, they don't validate it. So what you do is this. It's going to take me 6 hours to do what you just asked me to do. Typically, I charge my rate, you know my consulting rate. Typically, I would charge you $1,000 to do this for the next 5 hours. We can work out a deal, but I want to be very clear with you. I would typically charge $1,000. So if I spend 6 hours on this and I do this to you as a favor, like this is a big commitment to me. Do you understand how big of that commitment is? Now they have a valuation of that time on it, but you constantly don't be in the habit of, hey, I have to make the client always happy, so I'm going to spend extra time on it. Tell the client how much time it's going to take. Tell them what your rate is for this time, and then if you want to negotiate a special price or tell them you'll do it for free, you must tell them that your time has a price tied to it. Otherwise, they'll never value a time. They'll follow up all the time. You won't be able to put a fence around it. And again, you're going to buy a job that you don't want. Create the lifestyle that you want. I'm excited. Let's go ahead and I already stumbled on that. I don't even know what the hell the next video is because I'm so damn excited. We're going to see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. Hey, I'm really excited to film this next portion because it's quite honestly one of the most favorite things that I love to teach, and I know Kate might argue with me on this, this is where I make most of my money. Now, it's all in the language and it's all about how you get clients. Now, one of the main things that you're going to want to do, and I always suggest to do this, when you stop becoming an employee or when you think about becoming an entrepreneur, it's super important to start reading books and being around other entrepreneurs. You can't think the same way as you do as an employee. Now let me give you an example for that. So I told someone this once where, you know, the difference between an employee and someone who owns their business is this. As an employee, you can walk into work and I tell them, go stare at the wall for 30 minutes. It's great, right? Whatever. Maybe your boss is going to yell at you, maybe not. However, if you're an entrepreneur and you walk in late and you just stare at the wall for 20 minutes, you may not eat. And that's just the truth of it. So you can't have the same habits that an employee has. So circle yourself around people like at Meetup, get to meet people. This is one of the best lead generation processes, is literally just being around other people and asking questions about them. So as you're starting to become an entrepreneur, one of the best things you can do for your business is literally just go shake hands with other people. Now, one of the things as being an entrepreneur, it doesn't always have to be about you. This is why I say people should get professional coaching and really take a look at language, because so many people when they get started as in social media as a manager is they try to go out and they recruit every single business that they can. They try to satisfy everybody, and that really comes down to the psychology of wanting to have everything right away, trying to do it real quick. We're going to show you how to build a business based off language and a monetary exchange of value. This is going to be really important. So let's say you're looking to get your very first client, okay? One of the things I want you to realize, we're going to go through some emotional stuff here first. One of the things I want you to realize is nothing is ever true unless it's validated. And here's what I mean by that. 1 plus 1 equals 2. I'm pretty sure, let me see, I have a marker. I'm going to ride on this dry erase board here. I'm pretty excited about this, right? So 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? Now, the person who's filming this story, well, he's had an interesting childhood, and if I was to ask him, what was it like growing up with your mom and dad, that could be a long story that would be probably really interesting, but I'm not there to validate it. No one else is either. That's based off his own experience. So this is super important to understand as we start getting into language, and then we'll get into branding. What's going to happen is when you talk to an individual, it's going to be interesting, is we're always going to look for the analytical answer, something that we can verify. Okay? Let me give you an example of this. 1 plus 1 is 2, and essentially what that is it's verifiable. Now when people start speaking, what they're going to do is they're going to talk based off past events, and they're going to speak on either negative thoughts or positive thoughts. This is all about profiling the perfect customer. This is literally where you're going to make your money, qualify your customer, and build your brand. So what happens is we're going to ask a sequence of questions to a potential client. I'll show you the best client to meet in a second. We're going to ask a sequence of questions, and we're going to find out what the client actually needs. What do they actually want? They're emotionally going to be involved in the story. It could be a negative part or a positive part. But remember, this is important, that all three parts of the brain, the negative, the positive, and the analytical, it all sits and all touches the brain the same way. So when you ask your customer client questions, you're looking for, what can I verify that's 1 plus 1 that's true? And a lot of the other emotions in it, just remember, it's not verifiable. So let me give you a good example. Where I like to go get my clients, that I love to go get my clients, is places that I shop and places that I frequently visit. So for example, I'm in New Jersey just this last week giving a speech, and I go into this restaurant. It's a beautiful restaurant. Like, it overlooks New York City. It's amazing. So I look at my phone because I want to share it with my friends, and I like sharing where I eat and stuff, and I go into the fan page to like it and show that I was here and check in. They don't even have a fan page. So this is somebody I know that lots of other people have probably negotiated with them overall, and they probably, sorry, when I say negotiated, there's a police siren outside. It caught my attention for a second. But what happens is a lot of these businesses ignore the social media managers when people come up with ideas, because these social media managers come up and say, oh my goodness, you know what you should be doing? You never should on anybody. That's really important, because you're going to start a conflict in the conversation. But I'm looking on my phone, they don't have a fan page. I know that I should ask for a manager and compliment on how amazing this meal is. Like, I'm going to tell him I'm going to recommend this to other people. And the last thing I'm going to ask him, it amazes me that you guys don't have a fan page. And I'm just going to see what his conversation is. If he tells me, and this is all about picking up clients, if he tells me, you know what, I had 3 or 4 other marketing firms before, I didn't like them, I hated them, oh, it was such a pain, all I wanted was money. These are emotional statements that I can't verify, but he has some issues around money and hiring other people. So this is going to be a long hill to climb when I'm profiling him as a client. And what I do many times is I just ask a sequence of questions. We're going to show you how to ask a sequence of 5 to 7 questions to find out, is this a client that I really want to work with? Okay? And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this by an acronym that I use all the time when I talk to clients, or I keep in my back of my own mind, here's the process of what's happening. Now let me write this out for you. It is one of the most important things that I can ever show you. Let me erase this here real quick. So I want to make sure you really write this down. Now this will help you in relationships, this will help you in business, this will help you attract literally any client that you could ever possibly want. And honestly, as many as you want. So it's this thing that we call IBR. Now, I have clients actually do this on the phone where they basically, what I say, look, I want you to take your hands, I'm from Texas, right, or you're going to go to a concert and rock out, and what I want you to do is I want you to turn it to the side. Now, here's what I'm going to do, and I go over this with all clients, all employees, all contractors. I even use this in relationships. Whereas, I'm going to ask you a sequence of 5 to 7 questions, and I want to understand what your intention is. Now, a lot of people try to worry about the behavior, so I'm going to ask you questions so I understand your intention, and then I'm going to go ahead and take care of the behavior. I'm going to give you options on how I can assist you to accomplish the result. Intention, behavior, result. I'm going to ask the client, when I'm talking to him, just the manager, I'm in the restaurant, it's really busy, I'm going to qualify him to see if I qualify him for his time, or even if we should talk as a client, right? I don't need to seduce everybody right there, and quite honestly, business language is just like seduction language. You can't ask somebody the first time you meet him if you want to marry him. And that's what a lot of people do, is when my friend Jesse says they show up to a table with a spoon and fork. This is all about qualifying your clients through language, and then respect you more and pay you more money for it. So what's going to happen is when this manager comes up to me at the restaurant, I'm going to ask him, man, this is an amazing restaurant. Like, I love it here. I'm already starting this process. Tell me about, I mean, this is just amazing, but you guys don't have a Facebook page. Now he's going to tell me about these past relationships that he had. Either it's negative, positive, or he'll just tell me, we haven't tried it yet. That's verifiable. They don't have a page. They haven't tried it. So I'm going to ask him, man, how long have you worked here? Are you guys busy on a Saturday night? I'm just asking him to open him up just for some additional questions. And then I'm going to ask him towards the very end, you know, I'm surprised you guys don't have a fan page. Do you guys have a fan page? And they're like, either yes or no or whatever. What's going to happen then essentially is you're grabbing that conversation, you may set up a follow-up phone call, depending on what the individual says. Because what you're basically going to do is you're going to say, okay, let's just say you had a Facebook page, Mr. Manager. What would you want the result to be? He's like, well, if someone updated it on a regular basis, no, I'll take care of the behavior. Just tell me, like, what would a fan page mean to you? Or what would it have to do to mean something to you? You're pre-selling the customer, and you're asking for micro commitments and figuring out what they exactly want. They're going to tell me, you know, if I can get people to check in here on a regular basis, if I can get it shared more often on social media, that would be a huge value add. And literally, I always close up initial conversations like this. I tell you what, I have a couple of ideas. Would you mind if I sent you a very quick video to let you know of some of the ideas that I think that could help? It'd be free of charge. Can I have your email information? That's it. Because here's the thing is I don't grab his card and have him give him my card because I'm the one who pays for my mortgage. So I have to take control of, if I'm interested in the place that I'm at, I'm going to build a very, very quick relationship with the manager or the owner. It could be a gym you go to. We had someone have their first $10,000 month in one of the trainings we had because she worked out at 4 or 5 different gyms. She was a Zumba instructor and she wanted to do this on the side. So what happened is she would walk up to people and she'd say, hey, look, I noticed you don't have a place on Facebook. What would you do if you had a place? If you were set up in local directories, they tell the intention. She goes, look, I know people, and because she already had trust with these individuals, she goes, I know people, they can get you everything that you want. If I gave you a price, would you be interested in everything that you told me that you wanted? Would you be interested if I could deliver that result? Which would be $10,000 in just a couple of months. Actually, it wasn't even a couple of months, it was a couple of weeks when she started with us. So really important, here's how this works. You want to start going to places that you frequently visit, that you enjoy, that you can look on your cell phone and literally qualify. Do they have a fan page? What happens when I basically just Google them? What sites show up, right? The second thing is, if you're passionate about their business, find out why the business owner got in business. What was their intention when they got into business? People will dream of why they got into business, and they'll start telling you, and they love talking about their individual business. So ask them, why did you get into business? Man, that's amazing. I'm an entrepreneur. You don't have to tell them what you do. I'm an entrepreneur, what do you do? Make it all about them. You're going to clearly understand the intention. And what can happen is we tell clients all the time, like let's say I go back into this ice cream shop for the 3rd time, I'll say, you know what? Man, I love how you got into business. I love that you like to create amazing ice cream. You know, I got a couple ideas. I can send you a quick video, but I can either do this for you, I can literally train your staff on how to do it, or I can record a couple of videos for you and you can do it on your own. But man, I'd love to help you out. I'd love to get more customers in your business because I think you deserve it because you have amazing ice cream. This is a lot different than walking up and saying, hey man, look, you don't have a fan page. You know what you should do? You should do this. You should get on this. You should do this. Now you use all this technical jargon. People don't care about that. People only care about their dreams, which is their intention. And when you really listen carefully, the negative, positive, and the analytical, right? When people start dreaming, they buy the dream. They don't buy how often you update Facebook. They don't care about if you update it 6 times or 10 times. And if you get the right clients like we do through qualification, we really get the right clients because if they're clear on their dreams, we like to work with them on the behavior, then we can work with people that we want, and then we're really clear on the result. And if you look at this, people don't manage me on, Kurt, what color is the website? Did you post 5 times? Did you post 6 times? Did you post 10 times? They don't have to manage the behavior. I didn't buy a job. I bought the consulting agreement with a client where I want to make sure they hit the result. And I take care of everything right here. Okay? The next thing is I want to go over and I want to talk about building your own brand. So what happens is most people talk about themselves. They physically have to talk about, here's what I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. No one really cares. They just care what you're going to be able to do for them for a result. So what's important is you should be on Facebook, you should be on Twitter, you should be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn because it's like the country club, literally like going to the country club for social media. You want to be on Google Plus and you want to have your own YouTube channel as well. And what happens is if you just develop content on a very regular basis that we're going to teach you in the course, if you develop regular content when you train your clients to do, you should be able to do on your own as well. You can be passionate. I know people in this room are passionate about painting and art and shoes and shopping and technology. It doesn't always have to be about you branding and being a social media manager. Talk about you in your life because this is the most important thing that most people don't understand. No one frankly cares about all the great skills that you have and how much you charge. People want to know that you care and they want to buy from you as a person. They don't want to buy from you as ABC, LLC who does social media. People want to know, man, I'm going to be able to do business with Ori. I'm going to be able to hang out with him. I get some of his ideas. He has this really creative art that he does. Like, I'm going to be able to incorporate that in my brand. Incorporate your personality into finding clients. It's going to be huge. But here's the other thing. You can never ask a client to do something that you're currently not doing. So, I don't update Facebook as much as Kate does. Kate has amazing engagement on Facebook. I've always wished that my engagement was as good as hers. But what I do is I post a couple times a week in a very selective pattern where when I go out to events or when I see other people, they're like, oh my goodness, Kurt, you're speaking all over the US. I mean, you're training all these people. You have all these consulting clients. It's the way that I posted the pictures and the way that I'm communicating my message is nobody cares about the details, they only care about the story. And I'll tell you this is super important to understand when you're starting out. More people care about the story than they care about the details. You don't have to tell them everything about your business, that they're your first client, that you got to do this, you got to do that. None of it matters about you. If you make it all about them, you'll attract clients. So, talk to a manager, get to know places where you're going out shopping right now, or if you're really into fitness, go into fitness shops, but don't try to go for the jugular right away. Shop there, become a customer, go through the experience, and find out exactly how you can be a part of the result. The behavior is going to be simple, and Kate's videos inside of here on how once you get a client's intention and what she shows you how to do with the behavior, I'm telling you, hands down, some of the best in the world that I've ever seen. Your clients are going to get amazing results because you're doing it consistently for them. The last thing is to wrap this entire thing up. Your clients will tell you everything that they want if you ask enough questions. If you spend too much time on behavior, right, they'll shut down, they'll stop answering questions because you're the expert and they're going to sound stupid. Even if they sound stupid, tell them they don't sound stupid. Say, that's amazing, tell me more. And I'll give you this tip when you're asking questions. You know what people don't like? Is uncomfortable silence. So when you ask a client about their dreams, their aspirations, what they want to do, pause uncomfortably and count to 3 to 5 seconds. They'll give you more information what they want. And they'll tell you everything, and you'll learn how to create the behavior from what Kate and I'm going to teach you inside the program, and you'll deliver results. Alright everybody, now, I know I always say this for each video, but I love the language based in it. So what I'm able to do is I'm able to select the people that I want to work with. Now, does that mean that I work with everybody I want to work with? No. Does that mean I attract all the exact clients that I want? Not always. But I'm going to show you how to increase a very high level of probability to deal with the people that you want to work with. Okay? So it's all about, remember, this is really important, we've covered this in videos before, it is all about verifying information, and people operate in patterns. If you have someone who consistently talks about their many problems and how broke they are, notice I'll never say broke. You people right now aren't broke. Some of you may be underfunded. There's a big difference. Someone who's broke, they're broke all over, they're unable to do anything, they can't take any action. And when someone talks about being broke or their business is broke and they just need more marketing, when they use the word need over and over and over, this is really important that I want to teach you. When they use the word need, and can you get that on camera okay? Can you see that? That's great, perfect, thank you. When someone says they need this, they need that, they need this, they're having a high level of predictability that they're going to need you all the time. It's a frequent, the language that they use is always going to predict your future. So what happens is you want to be able to have a conversation, or maybe 2 or 3 conversations with somebody. I don't necessarily pitch the very first time I meet somebody. I want to have a couple of conversations because I'm going to listen to their language. And if I show up and they're rude, let's say I go to the counter 5 times, yeah, 4 times like that. We're going to go to the counter 5 times, and every time I go there, they're like, hey, yeah, what do you need? It's very predictable that they're always going to be in a hurry when I'm going to talk to them. So if I want them as a client, remember we're establishing predictability, that they're probably going to want stuff in a hurry, right? Now as I start asking them their IBR, I only tell clients once we're into like the 2nd or 3rd conversation what IBR actually is, but I start asking questions around their intention. Man, I love this place. You know, why did you get into business? And have them really start listening to why they got into business. Find out if they still have a passion about it. Because here's the thing, someone who's not passionate about their business is not going to be passionate doing business with you. See, if you can't facilitate their dreams, and if you can't really tell people, hey, look, I can do the behaviors that are required to get the goals that you want, that you've always dreamed about. That's important. But if someone's not going to take the time to listen to you, if someone's just analytical and they're only talking about the money, all they're going to do is talk to you about the money the entire time. The money is a byproduct of the service that you're going to offer, and you're going to get paid very well for it. But what you're going to do is you're going to establish, literally, how to make people's dreams come true. Now, the good way to do this is to pick up on people's patterns. Now, this is where you kind of dive down the rabbit hole, but it tells the story on so many people. As we went over intention, behavior, result, the more questions you ask about an individual, oh, tell me more about, that's amazing. How about when you, don't ever say, you know what you should do? You should do is, don't ever tell anybody, go through a question answering process. Because here's what's going to happen. Very predictable. People are very predictable. So for example, if I schedule 3 calls with this individual and they're 10 minutes late to each call, I can't get mad at the 3rd time that I work with them and they're late. They're predictable. They've already shown to me that they operate in a pattern, they're going to be late. Am I okay with that when I take on that client? Because the way that they act now is the way that they're always going to act. You know, they say that women marry men to change them. And then we all know that that's just not possible, right? And what ends up happening is you don't change someone's behavior, you learn on how you want to work with them. What's more important than anything else is when you show up with a spoon and fork and you're like, I need business, you're going to take on clients where you're going to basically buy a job back. And you're going to get paid to have people call you on the weekends and call you at midnight. It's okay to pre-qualify your clients by asking them a set of questions to see how they feel about their business. And then ask them, how much time do you think it would be required to do this business? See how much they value your experience or they value your time before you ever give them a proposal. Now what happens is people that I can clearly communicate with, this is really important, is the people that I can make money with. I'll give you an example. I had a guy who is a multi-million-dollar income earner in this one company, and he's like, Kurt, I want you to build this sales funnel. And I go, great, I would love to. I go over this with all clients. It's called intention, behavior, result. Please put out your hand, kind of like you're going to rock out at a concert, or I'm a Texas Longhorn. Turn it to the side where your fingers are parallel, and point to that first finger. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions around your intention. Is that fair? It's like, hey, that makes sense. And I go, you see my knuckle? That's the behavior. Now, you don't have to worry about the behavior. Don't tell me what you want. Tell me what you think, or don't tell me what you need. Tell me what you think that you want, right? What are the end results? Now, when you tell me the results, what you're looking for, I'm going to come back with you within 3 to 5 days of a plan that is highly probable for you to be successful, or either I will do it for you, I will coach you on how to do it, or I'll film some videos and you can do it on your own. It's as simple as that. So the client is in the frame then of just getting their attention. Now as I'm talking to the client and I ask a bunch of questions, the client finally starts getting upset and they go, well, wait a minute, Kurt, you're supposed to be the expert. You tell me. Do I need a funnel? Do I need to collect opt-ins? You tell me. Why are you not telling me? Why are you asking me so many questions? Now, this person said this question, this word, which is another alert word, why. When someone says, why does this happen to me? Why is this always happening? They have this thing in their brain called an open loop. And what an open loop basically is, an open loop is like when you watch American Idol, and the winner is, and you have to wait, your brain has to have a conclusion. So when people are asked, I don't know why this happens, they don't have a very good decision-making ability to close the loop to get the answers that you require, which is those analytical answers. So when someone starts telling me, you know what I really need is I really need some money and I need to work with these individuals and I don't know why they didn't do this or why they didn't do that. These are people that are pointing their fingers who can't physically close this loop, and there's always going to be problems working with them. So as I'm talking to this one guy, this client, this prospective client, he goes, Kurt, why are you asking me so many questions? I then know that I have a problem of, well, wait a minute, we can't even have a conversation where he's not interrupting me and getting upset, and we're only on our second conversation. It's going to show a very high predictability of what it's going to be like working with him long term. I'm not going to be able to communicate with him, so how am I going to be able to work with him long term? This is all discovered in Attention Behavior Resolve. The questions that you ask, and you're going to see in additional videos that Kate and I will do, the questions that you ask are paramount. Asking them about their business and their lifestyle and what they want to do and what it would take to get them there, and just keep on asking. You'll see the patterns, and then you get to literally select who do you want to work with. Anybody who's rude to me up front and short, I don't ever work with them. Anybody who talks so much about themselves, they're cocky, they're arrogant, and quite honestly, they're just an asshole, I never even tell them I'm going through IBR, and I basically say, hey man, that's really cool, and I introduce them to someone else at the party, and I walk away. But remember, your time is limited. Ask the right amount of questions. You're going to qualify the right amount of people, and just by asking questions, people are going to feel that you're relating to them more, because most people just spew from the mouth. They'll remember you more when you ask personally about what they want. And that's really where it comes into qualifying clients. So I hope you learned something in this video. We're going to go in more detail later, but this is literally how you attract anybody that you want to work with through a sequence of questions to develop the results that they want. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So the next part that we're going to talk about here is how you can pick up any client. Now this could be used as dating advice as well, and quite honestly the business relationship, it's so funny. The business relationship really kind of comes down to flirting and knowing how to attract that perfect client and where to find them, okay? Let me give you an example. There's somebody that we all know here in this room. They've done probably over $200 million online. He's a little eccentric individual. This isn't somebody, if I want to work with them, and we're running some really interesting campaigns for them right now, this isn't somebody that I constantly follow up with and find out where they're at, what are they doing, how are they going to make a decision. I need to be seen where they're at. And they need to see me to say, hey, I always see Kurt around, I always hear people talking about him, what's going on? You want to build your own fan base. Now, one of the ways that you do that is not by talking about yourself. It's one of the worst things that you can do. If you want to go find a client right now, here's exactly what I would do. I would type meetup.com. And I would go to a couple of the meetups, just a couple of the events, that you can just hang out with other people. Maybe you like to run, maybe you like art, maybe you like to play cribbage. I don't know. You know there's actually people at Zilker Park here in Austin that play cribbage or whatever from Harry Potter. They run with sticks in between their legs. It's really weird. Anyway, here's the thing is you're just looking for a simple conversation. And you're looking to hang out with other entrepreneurs. Now there's a lot of places around Austin and probably around your local area where they have like co-working facilities, right? You don't necessarily need to have an office that you work out of, but some of these co-working facilities are for startup companies that have regular events in their office. So you want to look up co-working facilities. They typically have parties, which is fun where you can just meet more people, new entrepreneurs. And if you don't know what co-location or co-working is, it's basically when you have an office space and you may have 5, 10, 15, 30 different people all kind of sharing a space just so they get out of their house. Meetup.com is an amazing place to just go meet people and have conversation. Ask them what they do. You're going to be surprised how many people are directors of marketing, have their own business. Remember, always ask them about their business and their hobbies. So there's also going to be local networking events. You're going to look up local business networking events. Now, some people like to go to BNI or Business International, Business Network International or something around like that. And BNI typically looks for one set of skills for that person to be in the meeting, that you show up every single time and they only recruit a certain amount of skills inside of a table, and that's pretty structured. For me, you really just require just a couple of clients. And if you're thinking about like $500, even $2,000, like we were talking on the pricing before up here. I mean, at $500, what do you need? 4 clients that literally change your job? Is that 6 clients at $2,000 a month? Is that 3 clients? Is that 4 clients? So what's really important to understand about this entire process is the language that you're connecting overall with your clients, the pricing that you have for your clients, setting up the fencing around your clients, and really it's performing and setting those proper expectations. So as we wrap this entire episode up, one of the things that I really want to focus on is your speed of implementation. As soon as you meet somebody, give them speed of implementation. Here's what I mean by that. If you go to a meetup, if you go out to a networking event, one of the best things that you can do as well, especially if you have extra time on your hands, I'm telling you, this made my business. And really the reason I'm standing here right now, these guys, like I said, the camera looking at me, is because I asked that I wanted to volunteer. I met these guys at an internet marketing party, and I asked, just because at that point I was underfunded, not broke, as I said to the guy who owns the place, Jonathan and David, and I said, hey, what can I do to volunteer? And they're like, what do you mean volunteer? And I'm like, I'll do anything. Like, you want me to buy party gifts? You want me to bring balloons? You want me to set up early? And they're like, well, why would you do that? And I'm like, I just want to volunteer. Volunteer in as many places as you can, because you're looked as a person of authority, but the event host introduces them to all their friends, and that's literally why I'm standing here right now. So what you want to do is volunteer, ask people about their questions, their IBR, right? Attention, behavior, result. And then as soon as you talk to somebody, remember, people pay off speed of implementation. You say, hey, you know what? I have a really good idea for your order. You have this art project. Hey, if I do just 2 really quick videos for you, do you mind if I send you 2 quick videos that would give you a couple of ideas on Facebook? Would that be helpful for you? Or he's like, hey, that's great. You go home that next morning, as soon as you wake up, you record those 2 videos, you send them to Ori and say, hey, Ori, and by the way, this is better than a business card. Hey, Ori, we talked last night. I gave you a Facebook idea. I just recorded a video just so I can show you what to do. Man, I hope you can really find value out of it. Thank you. Do you think next time that Ori sees me out that he's going to thank me for the video? He may thank me right away, but he has a higher probability of doing business with me, or I'm just getting to know him to recommend me to other people. So where I get most of my clients is by going to events where it puts me in situations where I can talk to a lot of people, where we have common friends and common associates, and I let them basically do the selling for me. But to build those relationships, go out and volunteer. And the meetings that you go out to, this will be the last part to wrap it up, be consistent. Everything else we talk about pricing and everything else is consistent. The more that you go out, like the more that I go to this party here in Austin every single month, the more that I develop relationships because I see the same people. You're not going to develop any relationships with people if you just go there once or twice. Go there on a regular basis, and you can quote me on this. You go to meetups on a regular basis if you enjoy swimming or running, or you go to a couple of business meetings on a regular basis. Quote me on this. Within the first 60 days, you'll have 4 to 5 clients, and many of them could be in this pricing, but you'll have 4 to 5 clients. It will unequivocally revolutionize your business. So go get them right now. Go.
Now, in addition to offering your services to end users, you might also want to offer your services to other firms that don't do social media but do other types of online marketing. For instance, I partner with web development firms, SEO firms, email marketers, all kinds of different online marketing people, local marketers, a lot of SEO firms and a lot of web development firms. They're great to partner with. One of the reasons that they're great to partner with is because you really, spend time to develop a relationship with one person, and then you have access to more than one client. So it's an efficient use of your time. 2 is that these clients that they have are already invested in online marketing, and a lot of times, your web development firm or your SEO firm, they like doing what they do. They don't want to handle the social media, but they know that it is worthwhile to offer that as a service to their clients. So there's a great partnership there that can happen. It's a great way to find clients. As a matter of fact, in the next module, when we talk about finding clients, it's one of the things I'm going to recommend you do. Now, when you go to do that, there's 2 different ways to really handle it. One is that the client, the SEO firm, or the other web development firm could refer clients directly to you those clients become your clients essentially. And at that point in time, you become the point of contact. And so like that particular client would have, they'd have an SEO firm, and then they'd have a social media firm. And generally when somebody refers me a client in that case, and they become a client of mine, I pay a one-time referral fee, a one-time thank you fee to the person who referred that client to me of somewhere around 10, maybe 15, or if the person is a great referrer and it's a really great client, I may even pay up to as much as 20%. That's just a thank you commission for referring the person to me and me landing their business. Now, if people try to talk you into higher commissions for referring, they're probably thinking of the affiliate marketing model, which is more appropriate for something that is a digital product. In services and done for you, you have a lot of overhead costs that aren't included in something like a digital product. So it's not appropriate to offer anything, in my opinion, more than about 20% a thank you commission for referring clients. Now, that being said, you can also decide for yourself whether you're going to do one time or if you're going to do an ongoing commission, thank you, a referral fee to the person who referred every month, or just one time. I choose to do one time. You might choose to do ongoing, because you may have a client that they refer to you, and then that client signs up for a monthly maintenance package. And in that case, you're going to be receiving payment from the client on a monthly basis. You can choose to, thank the person who referred them to you monthly or one time. Again, in my mind and the way the numbers work out for me, the one-time thank you is of the 10, 15, 20% is really all that is really cost effective for me, and really thanks the person for sending me the client. And anything I do beyond that first month, or that first setup charge, or sometimes it is just for training and it's a one-time fee. In that case, I'm really only doing a one-time thank you, and that's really how I handle that. Now, and again, that is the system for if they fully refer a client over to you. Now, there's another situation called white labeling. And in a white label situation, the SEO firm, the web dev firm, the person who has the original relationship with the client will continue to be the point of contact, and they will outsource the work to you behind the scenes, or, under the umbrella of their brand. Okay, so what that means is, let's just say that, SEOfirm.com has a client, and they come to me and they say, hey, Kate, we have this client, and we'd like for you to handle their social media, but we're not going to refer them to you. We're going to remain the point of contact, and you're going to be, the social media partner for SEOfirm.com, or the social media arm of SEOfirm.com. That's a great way to work too. So you're working, you're completing the services, but you're working underneath their umbrella, like kind of hidden and in the background. So the way that works best, in my opinion, is you come up with a rate sheet, and that's really what you're looking at here on the screen, and what is called your sample agency services flyer. This is my rate sheet that I send to other agencies when they want to white label our services. So this form is what I send clients. This is their rate sheet for what I would be charging them to complete these services. Now, what usually happens in that case is the agency that I'm working with, in turn, upsells my rates to the client by 20%. Okay. Now, so that means anything that you see on here as what I'm charging clients to develop, let's say their plan is $2,000 a month, then when the firm goes to talk to their client about, now they can really upsell it to whatever they want, but then my rate is, say here, $2,000 a month, and then they can upsell that to their client to $2,400 a month, and they can keep the $400 a month for themselves. They pay me $2,000, and we both go on and I complete the work. A lot of agencies, when they first reach out to you, they will say, well, what is your discounted rate for agencies? Because we'll be referring clients to you in bulk. And here's what I have to say about that. You're welcome to discount your prices to those clients if you choose to do so. I don't, because they can upsell their package on top of what I charge to whatever they want. Now, I'm always open to negotiation, and if how they want to negotiate works for both me and them, then we'll negotiate. But here's what I want to caution you about. And those of you that are listening to this that might be looking to add social media arm to your existing SEO firm or web development firm, here's what usually happens is an agency will reach out to me with the promise of several clients, and they'll ask me to discount my rates because they'll be bringing more than one client to me, and because they're an agency and they have to go sell on top of it, and they want a discount. What usually happens is a lot of times nothing. A lot of times I don't end up getting a single client from them ever. Or, the first client is always, the one that you sort of have to feel out. You have to work together to see how it's going to go. I have my systems and processes down pat. Generally, another client has their, the firm has their systems and processes down pat. So that first client, we really have to decide, can we mesh or marry those systems and processes together in a way that works for both of us? A lot of times I'm trying to get them to come over and use my systems and processes like Basecamp, or, as a project management tool, whereas they're used to email or something, those types of things. And how often do they meet with their client, and how often do I need information from the client? So there's a lot of those things that have to be negotiated. So the first client is always more work than every other client after that, if you ever get a first client from them, because sometimes either they either find somebody else that's cheaper than you, or they don't really ever have a client that they end up selling into it, even though there's the possibility of it. So all of that being said, what my recommendation is, or how I work, and again, you're welcome to do your business however you want, is I don't actually offer a discount, especially not on the first client. So our first client, again, is going to be a lot of work. It's more work than a regular client, because we're marrying these two systems together and seeing if it's a good fit. So I always say, we can talk about the possibility of discounted rates for you on future clients, but our first client is always at my published rate, because it's the same to me as if the end client were coming to me directly. It's the same amount of work, if not actually more. So my recommendation to you in that case, as a social media manager, is that you do the same, that the first time you work with an agency to white label, you go with your published rates and don't offer a discount, and just allow them to upsell, since they're white labeling, upsell and keep whatever amount of profit on top of what you charge as they'd like. Remember, they're going to be the point of contact, and not you, so they will be handling, the billing of the client. They will be handling a lot of stuff with the client, and oftentimes, your meeting with them is more strategic and quicker because you're not explaining anything. You guys kind of have the same lingo and have the same speak, so they download the data from the client about what the promotions are, and then when you meet with them, you're able to very quickly and easily understand what the objectives are and implement, get straight to implementing. Whereas, if you have to meet with your client, you got to, explain and figure out their objectives and all this other stuff. If they're remaining the point of contact for the client, then they're doing all of that. So it is kind of a good deal. But anyways, all in all, in this document, what you're looking at is that, the first time I have a new client with an agency partner, it's published rates. And then beyond that, if they bring me a second client, if it goes well with the first client and they bring me a second client, I'll consider negotiating, or, I may consider negotiating in the beginning. But you just don't let yourself get pushed around too much, because especially in a white label, they can mark up your packages to whatever price they want. So you do want to give everybody a great deal, I understand, and don't feel pressured that you have to do it or you're going to lose the business. If that's the case, if you want a discount, you can. I'm firm in my prices because I know how much it costs me. I know my hard costs. I know in each package what I'm spending in order to make that package happen. And I know what my profit margins are, and I'm really, pretty firm, and I don't like to budge there. So those are my recommendations, and this is the form that I've given you. This is a form that I would send only to agency partners after we've kind of talked and we know that we're gonna, yes, we'd like to move forward, and yes, we'd like to attempt our first client as a partnership. Then this is a flyer that I would send them so they know they need to be fully prepared when they're selling their clients into social media, what they're going to be selling them into, and what those deliverables, that those guys are going to get for the money that they're investing. So you need to have some supporting documentation to help them understand how to sell your services, so that you don't get into a situation where they've gone and promised the moon and they've done that in the lowest price package that you offer. You don't want that to happen. So expectations clearly defined, supporting documentation clearly defined, package prices clearly defined, and still always I set them up to know that our first client is going to be a bit of a negotiation. There's going to be extra communication. It may not go as smoothly, but once we've had one client together and we understand how each company works, then the second client from there, moving on from there, tends to be a breeze. So I love partnering with other agencies. You just need to know how to do it profitably, and how to do it efficiently.